Everyone's favorite lying Gunner Queen Alanah Pearce is still making things hard for herself for literally no reason. She could have just let this go, not pay attention to it, and it would all be fine. Because honestly, even when there's juicy drama about her, she's still an extremely boring and vapid person that most people don't care about. But considering her ego is probably rivaling Pirate Software's, yeah, it's really hard to let anything go, honestly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to talk about Alanah Pearce again. Now, the Alanah Pearce stuff has absolutely blown
I
up
like
beyond
it.
all proportions. I honestly can't believe that this has gone so viral.
Wait, 1 million? Jesus.
And yet here we are talking about Alanah Pearce again. Now, the reason we're talking about it again is because Santa Monica Studio finally, like I said in my last video, nobody had come out and said anything regarding Alanah Pearce working for them. But Santa Monica Studio, the official account that ironically says, you know, God of War Ragnarok, by the way, has come out.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna call this a lie. I'm gonna call this just lying and protecting one of their own for no reason, because we know that these people lie in general, and we know that these people are willing to lie to protect each other in general. So, whatever happens, I think this is gonna be at some point at least proven a lie.
Out and said that Alanah Pearce has indeed worked with them for 4 years and that she was talented, creative, and hardworking contributor to their team that they were fortunate to have and the opportunity to work with. And yet, they never credited her. They never mentioned her. She is still to this day an uncredited writer when every other writer there has been credited.
Yeah, it's so wild because you should always be credited if in a game. Listen, I'm just saying if we live in a world where Todd Howard can be credited for making every piece of slop Bethesda has, then Alanah Pearce should probably have also been credited.
Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, like I said in my last video, I found it odd that none of these studios came out and actually said anything about whether or not she worked for them or to confirm that notion. But I understand some studios don't want to be involved in internet drama. Totally get that. But Alanah Pearce says that she was a writer for Santa Monica for 4 years.
I do not actually get that. I think if... Dude, America is so whacked, honestly. Because, dude, if you see someone lying about something and you know the truth, what do you mean you're just gonna stand there in silence and do nothing about it? That if I worked with her and that this was actually all true that she said, I would say she did it. Instantaneously, not even a question about it. Even if I did not like her as a human, I would still come out and say, yeah, she's not lying about this. It's true, she did X thing. But...
And people are not calling out whether or not she was employed. People are calling out whether or not she was actually involved in any video game writing. It's very clear that she was not credited on anything. And this is the problem that people have. You can have Santa Monica Studio come out and say these things, which honestly says absolutely fucking nothing aside from...
Yeah, by the way. And the reason this says nothing is because, well, there's a person who gets paid money to write tweets for these studios. Like, it's called a social something. I forgot the name, but every pretty much company now has someone, social manager, social conductor, something like that. But yeah, it's effectively, oh, your job is to write one tweet or one Facebook post a day. That's it. And you know who actually looks over your work? No one. No one. No one! So, these companies can actually lie without any problems, and as long as no higher-ups notice what's going on here, they're fine. They can say whatever the fuck they want.
From what we already knew, but the simple fact of the matter is, if she was so talented, If she was so creative and if she was so hardworking and a contributor to your team, why didn't you credit her for literally anything? It's very odd to me. So let's get into this video, guys. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. Now, listen, I want to preface this by saying this. I understand there is a lot of sims for Alanah Pearce, and trust me, I cannot blame you, okay? There is no doubt about it that she is a good-looking woman. However, I understand if you...
Someone said it. Again, I understand not liking Alanah Pearce, but dude, you gotta admit, she is above average looking. At the bare minimum, even if she's not your style, you have to admit she's above average looking, okay? You know? That's why she probably moved up the ladder on her back, if you know what I'm saying.
Want to simp, but I need you to genuinely just listen to what I'm saying. Don't you simps find it odd that someone supposedly worked for a company and wrote on video games, okay? These are video games that credit even the most standard, simple position. They will put that position, they even put playtesters in there as well. Like, you guys realize that the writers would easily be credited. There's no doubt about it. And for some odd reason, for the 4 years that she was there, she was not...
Yes, by the way, keep in mind, credits don't have rules. No movie credits, no game credits at the end of the movie or game have any rules attached to them. The credits can be literally anything.
Not credited for a single thing. Absolutely nothing. She supposedly worked on all these video games, and yet she was not credited for anything. Don't you simps find that to be extremely odd? Don't you find it to be extremely odd? Back in 2020, she posted the following. Hi, everyone. I'm finally allowed to announce my new job as a video game writer at Santa Monica Studios, who you probably know as a studio who makes God of War. By the way, she can't write her fucking tweets at all. So the fact that you want me to believe that this woman is a writer for video games when she could barely put together a sentence in her tweet.
Yeah, that's also true. This is just horrible. The idea that someone like this would be taken as a writer sounds extremely likely if it's a Vogue studio, though. But if you're looking even for a shred of credibility, like, my God, no.
Tweets, yeah, I'm calling highly fucking sus. I don't care how mad you get at me. She says, I am so proud to be part of this incredible team. And ironically, again, a picture that she points to her tits of Santa Monica Studios. So
that was planned.
Then you have people like, I think one of the CEOs or something like that commented on this, but let's continue. Oh my God, thank you all so much for the love today. I'm so honored to have even the tiniest little hand. Seriously, very small. I'm just a junior on the absolute incredible medium that is video games. So people are questioning how she even got there in the first place, considering her experience, but that's beside...
By the way, do you know why she can see herself trending in California? Because the trending tab literally works based on your interests. You yourself being on the trending tab can literally just mean the fact that you have like 10,000 followers on Twitter, and you search on Twitter yourself a lot. That's how trending works. So the idea that she's actually trending in California is probably not even true in the slightest, because she just probably looks herself up constantly on Twitter.
Game. So people are questioning how she even got there in the first place, considering her experience.
And the way specifically this works is the trending actually just takes what you search as very interesting stuff to you. So if you search dog poop, whenever there's a lot of posts about dog poop, it's going to show up in trending. Or even when there's no posts about dog poop and there's nothing else happening, you can get dog poop in trending anyway. That's how the Twitter system works.
But that's besides the point. So you got all the people in the world making comments. Even Herman Holtz made a comment. The CEO, Herman Holtz, made a comment, said, welcome aboard, Alanah. Glad you're part of the team. She says, thank you so much, Herman. Congrats on a new role from Phil Spencer. Thank you, Phil. So she's got all these connections, and people are wondering, how exactly does she get these considered?
Well, see, there's a table, and then there's you knock everything off the table, and then someone lies on the table. Okay, that's how you get these connections.
She's a junior with minimal experience, but that's beside...
Again, just purely personal opinion. But again, I have seen people like this. Allegedly, obviously. Alanah don't... Okay, Alanah's not gonna... Okay?
That's the point. Anyway, so Santa Monica Studio came out and said this. Now, there's something I want to show you guys. She ended up thanking someone called Bruno. Now, mind you, this comment came from the Santa
That means that she just knows the guy who runs the Twitter. Again,
Monica Studio.
I said at the start, there's literally nowadays a legitimate position for just tweeting shit and making a Facebook post one day.
Official account. Why are you thanking somebody called Bruno when it's from the official account is beyond me. Then Bruno ended up responding, ironically, where you see Bruno Velasquez says, of course, it was a great working with you, Alanah. Bro, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for what I'm about to say because I know it's going to upset the simps. I get it. But this shit is highly suspicious to me. It is highly suspicious. And let me explain why. Again, I don't understand how you are supposedly a writer on these video games and you have not been credited once for anything for the 4 years of work that you were there over at Santa Monica Studios. It's very clear this woman is very well connected. For however she did that, that's up to you to decide. But she's very well connected within the gaming industry where she has Phil Spencer and fucking Herman Holtz, both CEOs, commenting on her position and whatnot. I find that to be highly sus. But again, Bruno Velasquez says, of course, it was great working with you, Alanah. Now, I don't understand why. Is he the person who's in charge? If you look here, oh, that's interesting. Bruno Velasquez, game director on God of War Ragnarok and works at Sony Santa Monica Studios. So he is the game director over at God of War Ragnarok. That's interesting considering that people were asking whether or not she worked on God of War Ragnarok. That's something that she heavily implied in a couple of posts, which we're going to go over here.
Okay, now this is getting strange.
Here, shout out to Smash JT for these screenshots. Let me make it a little bit bigger so you guys can follow along. Wow, this is terrible. Low resolution. Anyway, I could read it. Alanah Pearce says this title scenario writer does not exist within the company. So actually, nobody.
Oh, we saw this.
Is called that, but I write scenarios and create main quest lines, all the shit you for some reason without having any way of knowing think I don't do. Then Longneck Man again called out the fact that he says narrative director writing lead would be the scenario writer, just different wording. What part are you credited for? So it was here that she heavily implied that she was writing on God of War Ragnarok because she was
oh yeah, this gets worse.
defending her notion as to the reason why she was not credited on God of War Ragnarok. And I understand the simps are out there saying she never said she worked on God of War. I understand that. But you guys got to understand as well the implication is here right now. If you are defending yourself as to why you were not credited on a game called God of War Ragnarok, then people are going to think that you are saying that you were a writer on God of War Ragnarok. You cannot then turn around years later and say, well, I never said I was a writer on God. You clearly fought for the notion.
Yeah. The notion is there, and it's very blatantly visible. There's nothing you can do about it.
You fought for the idea. So if you're over here trying to explain to everybody why you were not credited on this game, then that's going to lead people to believe that you wrote on this game and you weren't credited for some odd reason, which again, that would never happen. So then she says, no, that's not how it works internally. All of the writers write scenarios, not just dialogue. My job is exactly what you're saying I don't do. You don't know anything about what I do or the company I work for, obviously, and it's very weird to pretend you do give up. Again, she's fighting this guy over being credited on God of War Ragnarok. If you never wrote for that game, then why are you fighting this man so hard? You could have just simply said, I never wrote for this game. But for some odd reason, you didn't want to do that at the time. Why that is, I don't know. And then he says, I just find it odd you weren't credited for what you say you do. Alanah says, and yet I do it full time. And again, wouldn't lie about that on Twitter where everyone I work with can see it. So here she is, again, implying that she works full time and she works on this game because she's
We have seen it, but this is just so funny.
Fighting Longneck Man over whether or not she was credited on Ragnarok. This is why people are saying, hey, you actually did imply that you worked on Ragnarok. Whether you specifically said it or not, that's something different, but you 100% implied it, and only the simps out there are going to say that you didn't. And then this person says, if someone is not credited as writer on God of War Ragnarok, they were not a writer on God of War Ragnarok. My spite for those who would accept undue credit outstrips my spite for this platform, apparently. So again, this person, even this person calls out the same exact thing about her implying that she wrote for God of War.
Yeah, well, everyone knows she's lying at this point. Well, at least I hope everyone knows. But yeah, this is Alanah Pearce. This is the person who has a disability because she has a child. Her literal words, not mine, by the way. I mean, she has a lot of stupid shit under her belt, and now she's a full-time streamer or something like that. and she doesn't upload, which is sad because, man, there's probably a bunch of jewels if you sort out through the trash here. But who honestly knows, right? And anyways, that was Hypnotic. 10 out of 10. Alanah Pearce, 10 out of 10. And have a nice day. Bye bye.